Here we go. I like that. AM is after midnight and PM is before midnight. Great. All right, guys, it is 11:30. I am recording. This lesson is recorded for learning purposes, all that fun stuff. Probably know the routine. Virtual classroom expectations. Make sure you follow along with the Nearpod lesson. Use the chat tool respectfully and appropriately, and then also respond to questions and instructions the first time. There is the Nearpod link. I just put it in the chat if you didn't get that earlier. Love to have anybody that can follow us on there. If you can't, just, questions and stuff you can answer in the chat. We can go from there. All right, today, welcome everybody. Thanks for being here. It's hopefully you had a good weekend. Enjoyed some sunshine. The sun's been shining, so that's always nice. Today, what we're going to do, we're going to go over migration, and we're going to talk about push and pull factors, all that kind of stuff. Before I get into it, let's just kind of go over the class real quick. On the course announcements, you can see right here, I always post the class recording. So if you were not able to catch up on that, we have that there. If we go to the course plan, which brings up our calendar, you can see today is the 17th. We'll have, let's see here, it's a lesson 4 assignment that's due on Friday, and I'll zero that out. I'm going to have to put in here, so next Monday, I'll actually be at the Driver's Education Conference. It's a requirement for me to continue to do driver's education, so I got to go to it. So we will not be having live class next week, so I'm going to throw out a recorded lesson for you that day. And then I think I got testing on the 1st too. But anyways, that will kind of end us off here. If you can see, if we go to the content real quick, you can see everything's open. If you want to just go through and get everything done, you guys can finish it off. Yeah, I'm a slacker, Alan. Sorry, bro. But it's busy times. But end of blocks ending up here pretty soon, and we're going to be into summer break, which isn't a bad thing, right? Nobody said they didn't enjoy summer break. Just go find something fun to do. Okay, so this is what's going to be going on today. If you want to catch the course recording, it's right here. Nearpod lesson, right there. If you need to follow along or you missed today's class, the article that we're reading in the assignment's right here, or you can find it in the assignment. Let's see if that pulls up here. My internet's trying to be slow today. I'll start quiz. We'll go over this at the very beginning too, but right there, this is what it looks like. You got the article. Just by reading it, or at least saying you read it, you get 5 points. You're going to talk about some things. You got that all right there, okay? Your internet's slow. Mine's been slow too. Hopefully it speeds up a little bit. All right, so if you haven't been able to grab it real quick, the Nearpod link is right there. And once again, we're going to be going over push and pull factors today. So our objective for today is given a new Zella article, students will read the article about immigration and migration and draw conclusions about push and pull factors, list reasons why people migrate from one place to another, and determine whether something is voluntary or involuntary. The reason why people have to move. Okay. All right. So what is migration? Okay. So one of the things we talked about on the 5 themes of geography, going back to our first class, going back to that, one of the things that's talked about is movement, right? We talked about the movement of looking like a Amazon package, right? You order an Amazon package, it moves from one place to another, okay? One of the things we're talking about migration, we're talking about, people moving from one place to another. And we always seem to move People are always moving around for certain reasons, whether they be voluntary or involuntary. So we have what's called push or pull factors. And so right here we have a political cartoon, and we have a kingdom here, and we have people going out of the kingdom. And coming out of the kingdom, they're saying, we are leaving because we do not like the way things are done, okay? So I'm going to take, for example, just because I like to diss on them, and I like to diss on the Lakers, the Los Angeles Lakers. Do we have any Lakers fans in here? Any basketball fans? You? Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I'm a Utah Jazz fan, so you know, we don't like the Lakers or California for that matter. So I'm going to pretend here that this kingdom here is California, and we're saying these people are leaving and said, we do not like California because of this, that, the other, a number of reasons it could be. We'll talk about the reasons, okay? That's why we don't want to live here. But then on the other hand, you have other people saying, we're arriving to this area because we don't like how things are done elsewhere. And so we're coming here for a better opportunity, okay? And so you always have these migrations going on for one reason or another. Okay, this guy on the video here is going to tell you about the different types of migration and why people move about different things. So here we go.
And the move of people and the spread of ideas, we have to talk about push factors and pull factors. They're kind of what it sounds like. Push factors are things that push people out of an area. They make it so they no longer want to be there anymore, and they want to move to a different location. We could also even look at this for jobs and different things within your community. Something that is going to make you feel unwelcome, well, you're going to probably want to leave then. Push factors are things that are not welcoming. This could be poor economic conditions, a lack of opportunity, war or political oppression, or just oppression from your neighbors or people in the area. These are things that cause us to no longer want to be in a certain location. And because of that, then we decide to leave. So that's a push factor. Now, pull factors are a little bit different. Pull factors are what would attract someone to an area. A pull factor makes you want to move to that location. It makes you want to go to a certain area. We can break pull factors down into four main categories: economic pull factors, political, cultural, and also environmental. Our first category is economic pull factors, and this one is the most powerful at moving people. For here, people always want to move to areas with opportunity, and so they will go to areas with more economic opportunity. Places that have poor economic conditions are more likely to push people out. Economics is a big reason why people move. This is also why current day, the United States is a big destination for a lot of migrants and immigrants. Many people, particularly from Central America, want to come to the United States because of all the economic opportunity here. Let's look at an example. Let's say that we have a city and they just discovered a bunch of natural resources. This is going to start driving economic growth, and we're going to see an attraction to this particular area. We're going to see more miners, more loggers, more people come that want to be able to harvest and utilize these natural resources. There, then, we're also going to have more businesses come. If we're having all these new workers come into this area, that means there's going to be more people with money. So they have money to spend on different goods. And with that, then, we're also going to see probably more scientists and geologists come to look at what's going on with the environment and analyze the different areas. If we're having mines, well, they need to look at what's happening in the mines. Trees, we're going to be looking at different carbon monoxide output and what's going on there with the environment. And with all these excess people coming, we'll need more restaurants and stores and more housing. So all of this, just a simple discovery of natural resources, it becomes a huge pull factor. And we can transform an economy overnight, as now we're starting to see more workers and people come from all over the place just because of new opportunity. Our next topic is political. Now, people want to go to an area that's politically stable, where you're not seeing a lot of tension with the government and its citizens, where safety is on the rise, and we're not seeing a lot of crime escalation. They also want to go to an area where the government is supporting the people, where they're fulfilling their needs and helping the economy grow and make sure that we're not seeing a recession or anything that would cause uncomfortable times for its citizens. So people move to an area that's politically stable. Areas that aren't politically stable, well, that's going to be another push factor. That might cause refugees, someone who feels like they're persecuted and they have to flee the country, or internally displaced people where they're within their same borders, but there's a conflict and they've had to flee internally inside the country, or maybe even push them to become an asylum seeker. And that is where they're going to be going to another country in hopes of getting recognized as a refugee and gain that status. But a political motivation here is stability. People want to move to an area that's stable. The next category is cultural. Now, this is going to be different for each person because everyone has a different culture and a different view on life. Some people want to move to a big cities where they're going to have more diversity, both with their economic opportunities, but also in just the citizens who are living in that area. They'll start to be able to experience a faster paced life, and they might at the same time also have some higher crime rates and more traffic issues. Some people like the suburbs where you can have a yard, a front and a back. You'll have a bigger house. You'll have a lower crime rate, better schools, and you'll have maybe a more homogeneous area. So diversity goes down. Or some people want more of the rural lifestyle where they're in a small town and you have that family feel and you know everyone in the area and you're able to kind of pick and choose your community. Everyone has different cultural things that will pull them to a certain area. So culture can be a big aspect of it, particularly when people are having families. We see a lot of people start to move into the suburbs or in smaller communities when they have families because they want to make sure they're in a safe area. So this is a big pull factor for people. Our last category is the environment. People are attracted to environments that promote not only a happy life and a successful economy and a stable society, but ones that they feel comfortable with. Remember back to my video on the 4 twos, the too hot, too cold, too wet, and too high. Those are areas people don't want to be. I should definitely know some of this. I live in Minnesota where it is very cold in the winter. A lot of people don't want to live up here because of the coldness. They want to go to a warmer area. Now, there's other barriers that impact migration, such as mountains or government laws, restrictions, and also even just money. It's expensive to move. At the same time, though, what we've seen over time is it's become easier and easier to migrate and move. With communication and transportation improving, barriers we used to have are no longer there. That's also why we're seeing an increase of people moving, particularly to different countries that they see as more opportunity that is going to be available to them, where they can get a better life. And then we see now less of the physical restrictions, but more of a governmental stance. Governments now are passing laws and putting up barriers to try and prevent migration of people.
All right. Okay, so that gives us a lot of information about why people migrate from one place to another. There's so many different factors, right? So let me have you guys answer a couple questions. If you can do this on the chat, that'd be great. Or if you're on the Nearpod, you can do it on here. Moving to another area because of employment opportunity is a blank factor. Okay, so for example, I'm moving from Chicago to Utah because there, so I'm being pulled. Okay, so it's going to be a pull factor, so you guys are aware. Oh, crap, no. Sorry, there's 2 questions here. I got to go to the next question. All right, the next one. Leaving a location because the area is unsafe would be called a push factor. Okay. So you're leaving an area maybe because you're in danger or you don't like it there. Your neighbors are a pain in the, all that kind of stuff. You're leaving some place because you're being pushed, right? Some people are saying that Utah, they don't like Utah. So there's some kind of push factor that's going on, right? That could be political, it could be economic, it could be governmental, it could be all kinds of things. Okay. So you kind of know the things. So let's talk about these two factors real quick. So you probably heard at some point in time Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That's this pyramid right here. There's all basic needs and psychological needs and self-fulfillment needs that we all need, okay? When those start to get kind of undermined, right, we have push factors that are pushing us out, right? And we try to find other places that have those things that we're looking for. So the best example, if we think about Ukraine, okay, Ukraine is under war right now with Russia invading, all that kind of stuff. They don't have the safety, security, the food, the warmth, the rest. So that is a push factor that's pushing them out. Also, other economic things. Oh my, I think my cursor's kind of wigging out a little bit. I hate when it does that. They don't have those basic needs, right? Or it's unsafe, right? There's gangs that are ruling the streets. There's things that are going on. That would be a push factor, okay? There's also some other push factors that are maybe not as prevalent, but you don't have any friends in this area. You don't have family, that association. So that might be some reasons there. Okay, so you got pull factors. One of the things they said the biggest pull factor they have is, somebody said government could be a push factor. Yep, it could be, right? Somebody's discriminating against you. You don't like how things are running, right? I'm the only teacher that has mouse problems like that. I don't know what's going on with that mouse. I'm just going to leave it by until I got to push the next thing. But we got pull factors. The biggest pull factor is economic, right? You can go somewhere else to make more money. So a lot of people move because of jobs, right? Because you can get something better somewhere else, or it's cheaper to live. Another one's freedom, right? Being able to have freedom to live the way you want, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so I'm going to ask a question here. You can either put on the Nearpod if you're on it, or on the chat. So have any of you ever moved from one place to another? And if you did, then why? I'm going to tell you, so when I was younger, before the age of 8, my parents moved 15 times with me, if you can believe that. And it was all because of economic stuff, because my dad was finding a better job, or somebody put an offer in on the house and they really wanted the house. So I guess they liked moving. I don't know. I moved here from California because it's expensive. Yep, economic factor. Good. I think we moved from New Mexico to New York because of a job. Okay, economic as well. My mom said it was cheaper to live in Cali. Back. Okay. Yep. So it's not maybe that you don't like it there. It's that it's more of an economic kind of thing. Okay. Because you had to move for some reason. You had a push factor. Okay. I've stayed the same place your whole life. Okay, then you must be comfortable there, right? Like it there. Things are all right. But sometimes there may be a time where you need to move, right? Think about all this flooding that's kind of going on. We talked about natural disasters before. Push factor of environment, right? Environment was one that doesn't come up too much. But I like living more in a tropical area. I don't know why I live in Utah, but I like it there. Moved to 11 because we had a bigger family and moved into a bigger house. Yep. Okay, so that was there. Something changed. My parents moved from Utah to Massachusetts, back to Utah, just to try other places out and see where we wanted to settle. Moved once, built a house, moved from a rental. Okay. Lived in Georgia for 3 or 4 months. Perfect. Think about why, maybe, right? Why was that move necessary, right? Was it economic or political, environmental, you know? Some people are moving a lot because of the air quality in Utah. I noticed that too. Like when I go down to the coast and stuff like that, it's a lot better there. At least air-wise. I can breathe a lot better. A ton. So, okay, so just kind of think those things. There's migrations happening all the time. Okay, now we do also have something called voluntary versus involuntary migration. So a lot of times, involuntary is any time when you basically can't live in the area anymore, right? Whether it's safety, whether it's we don't have any more money, right? That's involuntary. Voluntary is like you have a choice, right? But you could do that from one thing or another. Wow, we got a lot of stuff in the chat. Yes, let me see here. Let me look at the chat real quick. Don't like the snow. Somebody likes the mountains and the weather there. Yeah, snow's fun for a bit, but not all the time. We got a lot of it. My descendant of John Hancock. Yep, he runs in my family tree. Sister born in Maryland, born in Georgia. Dad got a job, first hired, but more stable in Utah. Yep. All moves have been involuntary, somebody said. Okay. Yeah, so sometimes you do have voluntary things. Like you get a job opportunity where you don't have to move, but it's just you think it's going to be a better move, right? And things happen like that. So that would be the difference between voluntary and involuntary. So those that are on the Nearpod, if you want to fill this in real quick, I'll just read it off. It says, let's say you're living in South Sudan and a war breaks out. It is now unsafe for you to be there. This is considered a blank migration, right? And then let's say you ended up moving to New York City. After a year, you find a higher paying job in Florida. I wouldn't mind moving to Florida. This would be considered a blank, right? You don't have to move. There, okay? So that would be our difference right here between involuntary versus voluntary. Okay. All right, so let's go to our assignment. So this is where our assignment's going to be. I'm going to throw this in the the chat box real quick. But this is the article we're going to be reading, and hopefully it pops up here pretty soon. There we go. So this is a story about somebody that migrated into the United States, and his name was, I believe, Lottie. He's a teenager from El Salvador, and it talks about him coming to the United States. And what your assignment is, if you go to the assignment portion, is did you read the article, right? You got to push yes. If you put no, you don't get credit for it, okay? Because then you couldn't answer your questions. Okay, list different push factors, right? Why Vladi started to migrate, okay? List different pull factors. And then if it's voluntary or involuntary, okay? That's what our assignment is this week. Nothing hard, pretty simple. You can knock that out in no time. Okay, so that's what it is. If you have any questions, please let me know. I think I'm missing some chat things, so I'm going to hit those up. But if you have any questions, stay after. But if not, that's the end of our class for today. So I appreciate you guys joining, and I'll be around to answer any questions for the next 5 minutes or so. Yep, if you know what to do, you guys can take off and get that done for the week. And you can even get more done if you want to.